So there is a Swedish conglomerate known as Embracer Group. They are known for their extensive acquisitions ranging from Gearbox Entertainment, which are the creators of Borderlands, all the way to the rights associated with the Lord of the Rings franchise. And they had faced a significant stock plummet earlier this year due to the unexpected collapse of a secretive $2 billion deal. And a report that was just released today reveals that the secretive partner responsible for pulling out of this $2 billion deal was not Microsoft or Sony as expected. Rather, it was Savvy Games Group, which is a group supported by the controversial Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, led by the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Which, if you're not aware of the politics in Saudi Arabia, he's basically like the president. So yeah, this is like a crazy sort of story. Essentially, 3 months ago, people thought that it was either Microsoft or Sony that was going to buy them out for $2 billion, but it was actually, well, basically the government of Saudi Arabia. So Embracer's CEO named Lars Wingefors. I'm also having a hard time pronouncing that. I'll just call him Lars. That's easier. So Embracer's CEO Lars conveyed the news of this unexpected development to investors during a quarterly earnings press release on May 24th of this year. So yeah, this was announced 3 months ago to insiders and investors, and it was just made public today. So Lars had indicated that the failed deal, which had been in negotiations for 7 months, would have potentially established an unprecedented industry benchmark if it had materialized. Now, curiously enough, Lars chose not to disclose the identity of the company that withdrew from the $2 billion verbal agreement at the time of this May 24th announcement. And so yeah, given the magnitude of the agreement, $2 billion, only a handful of plausible candidates were expected. And obviously the main two that were expected included Microsoft and Sony. Obviously there's a lot of stuff right now with Xbox, for example, they bought out like Bethesda, and now they're buying out Activision. And PlayStation, they're trying to buy out people as well. So it was obviously expected that, hey, one of these guys, they wanted to essentially add to their exclusivity race. The race to basically acquire all of these, big companies and make them console exclusives. You could make Borderlands, and you could even make any Lord of the Rings video game a console exclusive. And some other potential candidates that people had also considered were Netflix, Amazon, as well as a couple Chinese conglomerates that I've honestly never heard of. So one is called NetEase, and one is called Tencent, as opposed to 50 Cent. Tencent is kind of a funny name. But yeah, contrary to these speculations, information provided by sources today actually points to the Saudi Public Investment Fund, which, as I said, is actually named Savvy Games Group. Basically, the sources today identified them as the actual party that backed out of this $2 billion deal. Now, something else that is kind of interesting is that Savvy Games Group is actually under the leadership of CEO Brian Ward, who is a veteran of the gaming industry. He has worked at Activision Blizzard and Electronic Arts, EA. And CEO Brian Ward had expressed ambitions to transform Saudi Arabia into a prominent gaming hub. Basically, from what it sounds like, Savvy Games Group was aiming to establish local studios that create the next generation of major gaming successes. And the reasons behind Savvy's decision to withdraw from the huge deal, well, right now remains unclear. It is pertinent to note that Embracer Group had already received a $1 billion investment from the Public Investment Fund the previous year. Alongside other notable gaming entities like Electronic Arts and Nintendo, Embracer faced criticism for accepting investments from Saudi Investment Fund due to, as I said, the investment fund sort of being controversial, which is due to the nation's history of human rights concerns. And right now, whether ethical considerations or maybe more logistical challenges were the main reason that influenced Embracer's inability to finalize the deal, I guess that really kind of remains up in the air. And I guess the significance of this is that the fallout from this aborted deal resulted in a very sharp decline in shares for the Embracer Group, which had gained recognition for its aggressive acquisition of video game studios in recent years. And this new revelation today raises broader questions about Saudi Arabia's intentions concerning overturning its controversial plan to invest what looks like actually $38 billion in the video game industry. Yeah, that's right. I'm not kidding. Saudi Arabia is actually planning to invest that much in total to the video gaming industry. I've said it before, video games, well, hey, at the end of the day, I mean, they're a business. I mean, they bring in revenue. Obviously, Saudi Arabia is seeing that, and though it is a bit odd, they are really wanting to jump into the video game market. I guess as of right now, though, Embracer may not be within its future since they decided to back out of that deal. A little bit more background information here that I thought was kind of interesting. Last year, Embracer acquired the Tomb Raider franchise, and also last year, as I said, they acquired the Lord of the Rings franchise. That one was a $365 million deal. And then on the flip side, so the Savvy Investment Group, backed by Saudi Arabia, I guess they are said to have the goal of investing in gaming to diversify the nation's economy. And I guess they have already acquired 2 esports firms for $1.5 billion. So yeah, they're already putting in work. And I guess over the last 2 years, Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund has become a major shareholder in gaming giants like Nintendo, Take-Two Interactive, and EA. So very interesting stuff to say the least. Whether you are, for Saudi Arabia getting their foot in the door as far as gaming goes, or whether you're against it, it's definitely interesting to say the least. Like I said, I kind of never would have thought of Saudi Arabia as, being interested in the video game market. But like I said, money is to be made in the video game market. It'll be very interesting to see throughout the rest of 2023 and then 2024 what Savvy Games Group, basically what they do, what they invest in, and how relevant they will be in the video game market as a whole. But as for right now, Embracer Group is off of their list.